It's a split weekend of NASCAR racing as the Cup and Truck Series head to Gateway, and Xfinity, they're going Portland bound, baby. We get you set from a betting perspective tonight on the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. Subscribe if you're new, pour a drink, and let's roll, baby. All right, and welcome to the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. No Derek Yoder tonight. That means you're stuck with me, Seth Woolcock, and we're going to be covering one of the more low-key fun tracks in the NASCAR Cup Series, Gateway, St. Louis, WWT, whatever you want to call it. We're going there tonight, and just a few years of data to comb through, but we're here to point you in the right direction for your betting needs, and I'm joined by quite the cast of characters, and it's truly been a wild time in NASCAR this week, guys. So we're going to break it all down for you. Phil with the Full Tank with Phil podcast join us. He's from Philly. He plays rec hockey harder than most. Phil, how we doing? How we doing tonight, brother?
Good. Yeah, rec hockey. We like to call it men's league. Gives a little bit more of a better spin to it. But yeah, the we got a game tonight, so I'll be rushing out towards the end of the show. But I couldn't miss this week because I'm fired up. You know, we kind of have a little bit of a hangover coming off of like what went down on Sunday. And you look up and you see Gateway, and for gamblers, I feel like it's a good opportunity for us here. So I'm happy to be here with you guys tonight talking shop.
Hell yeah. Well, glad to have you on the program, man. And also joined by Mark Harris, a guy who had quite the Denny Hamlin top 5 bet out there, was probably doing the rain dance the whole entire night. Mark, how you doing? How are the vibes after hitting that one?
Vibes are great. And if you want to know a little secret, I watched more laps in the Indy 500 than I watched in all 3 races combined with NASCAR. Well, I have a reason. I was on a boat. I was on a big boat. They did have TV, just none of the channels that they didn't have FS1, they didn't have nothing. So I had to buy Peacock a subscription to watch the Indy 500 on my phone, and I watched about a whole 15 laps. So I had no idea that we were even in a rain delay. We were at the blackjack tables, and then I'm like, yo, look up where Denny Hamlin is. And he's like, he's 5th, but it says there's a red flag. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And then I'm like, go to the bathroom, get on my phone. I'm like, oh, it's raining. This is good. I wanted him to go back racing because I knew that Denny Hamlin had a really fast car, and I was fine with it. I was feeling good. But yeah, that Chase Elliott top 5 Saturday, Denny Hamlin top 5 Sunday. We got another not a Denny Hamlin bet. We got another top 5 bet tonight. Not quite generational. I don't want to get over my skis. I don't want to dip into the basket too many times, the bucket of wealth. I don't want to go there too many times. But this is a slammer jammer. So I'm fired up. Mr. Woolcock, thanks for being here. Mr. Twining, thanks for being here. Let's party.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to hear it, man. And as you alluded to, also joining us tonight, he is known for his work over at BetSperts Media Group and also the Angle Pursuit podcast. His name is Brian Twining. Guy has a fucking condo right down the street from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That's how much of a degenerate he is. Brian, how we doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I was just chatting with you guys before this that I am greatly anticipating heading to Sin City this weekend to fire on some bets. But of course, I cannot look at the numbers in Vegas because, like I told these guys, I cry every time I miss out on good odds. So, you know, I'm subject to whatever I'm looking at right now and hopefully firing on some good numbers here from Cali.
Hell yeah. Well, we appreciate you being here with us tonight. Brian, also joining us is the NASCAR Betting Preview Show and IBT family in the chat. Looks like we got SC Troy hanging out with us already. What's up, Troy? Thanks so much for tuning in, man. And guys, thanks for getting us to 1,000 subscribers on the channel. That's pretty fucking sweet. We have ads now, though. We have ads now. So hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're going to have to sit through a couple, though. Sorry about it. All right, though, let's go ahead and let's get into some rapid fire. Let's crack things open after what was pretty fucking crazy Memorial Day weekend. How would you describe that weekend in one word, Phil? Give me one word to describe the NASCAR race ending 150 laps early. Larson not even get to touch the car on Sunday, and everything we saw. What is one word you can describe it? Muted as well.
Oh, Phil, rookie again.
And I came out of it, dude. I said frustrating, which is what I am right now with that. Yeah, frustrating is definitely the word that comes to mind for me, for a number of different reasons. You've got just the fact that you look at it at the end and you have your crown jewel Coke 600 that you expect to be this long race. It's going to be going through the whole night, and you don't even run really longer than like a Kansas race, which is kind of weak to kind of not to throw any shade at Christopher Bell, like he was the winner, but like,
no,
is he really a Coke 600 champ? I don't know. And then you had the whole the track drying. It wasn't drying. Do they let them race? Do they not let them race? You have everyone sitting there, everyone's ready to go, and then you just cancel it for reasons that were questionable. That was frustrating. And then you add in the Larson element to it. It just puts the cherry on top for the total frustration. So, yep, that'll be my word. And I think, I could probably say some other words too that we wouldn't like.
Yeah. All I'll say is that there felt like there was more fuckery in every single NASCAR race across every series last week. Whether that was the truck series on Friday, where everything kind of got bunched up multiple times. The Xfinity race, we just got Austin Hill fucking taking people out. And then in the Cup Series race, like, I was kind of expecting it to go longer. I had some long shot bets that like weren't even close to cashing. So I think that's just how it goes sometimes. And I guess we'll move forward regardless of it. Mark, I want to ask you, who's the number one person to blame for SHR folding?
Kevin Harvick. Well, no, I'm just kidding. He's the best. I mean, you got to look at the two guys at the top, Gene Haas and Tony Stewart. And I think I got to put it on Tony Stewart. I don't remember what clip I watched. I don't remember what podcast it was from, but they were saying that if, maybe it was Chris Rice. I think it was Chris Rice, maybe on the radio. And he was saying, as a team owner, being at the track matters to the team. It matters to the sponsors. It matters to the drivers. And that's something that neither Gene Haas nor Tony Stewart, as of late, were doing. Tony Stewart was not at the track. And we've talked about it on our podcast, probably this show. He got wifed up to NHRA. He decided to go spend a lot of his weekends there. And I think that that's a big deal. Now, the reason why they're shutting down, I don't know if it's out yet. I have no idea. But was it sponsorship money? I mean, you see all the overstock, paint schemes. That's a little bit of a red flag. The overstock just sounds like a budget friendly sponsor. Like, hey, Marcus Lemonis, let's just throw money. It's like. Anyway, I think you got to look at Tony Stewart, and I don't know the reason. So, I'm kind of pulling this out of my ass at this point, but it was a known fact that Tony Stewart was not at the track as much as he was previously. Maybe you can point to there.
Muted.
Oh no, Seth, muted. We got two rookie mistakes.
Jeez. Brian, Noah Gragson drives for which Cup Series team in 2024 or 2025? Excuse me.
I think he'd be a great fit with 2311, but I don't think Ford's going to let him get away. I see him going to front row and joining that team. I just don't see why they would let a guy who is ascending the way that he is go to a different manufacturer.
Sure. Phil, Ryan Preece should blank.
Go to the truck series. Honestly, I was a fan of Preece when he was taking his like kind of skip year or whatever you call it, your gap year. From, when you go from high school, you take a year off and then maybe you go to college. That year off that he was running all three series, run a little bit of Cup, running some Xfinity, dip down to the trucks, performed pretty well. I mean, I'm a truck series fan, so I like seeing it when these guys check their egos at the door, like Ty Dillon. Matty D did it for a second and then his ego took over. I think Preece would fit in well there. It's just, sometimes you got to build your way back up. He did not. I had a lot of hope for him when he joined the 41 team, and it just hasn't worked out. So performance to kind of add on to Mark's question and answer there, I think performance definitely plays a factor, and these guys just haven't been getting it done. So yeah, I would check the ego at the door, and I would take any ride that comes along. But I think if he wants to compete and have fun, I think the Truck Series is as good as it has been in a long time. So go do that.
Ryan Preece, next decision might be on the table for him. Big Ross saying put Gragson in the 2 for Cindric. I could get down with that. Mark, question for you. How do we bet the Xfinity Series race at Portland this week? We got guys firing off at 2-1 favorites, SV Jesus and AJ Allmendinger. What the fuck do we do here? Because I was pumped. That's like a 4:30 start. You can, have a little bit of a day, get into the Xfinity Series race. But no, now how do I bet a favorite? I'm a favorite better, Mark. What the fuck am I doing?
Skip the favorites, go straight to the top 5 market and take Parker Kligerman top 5 2-1. He was really good last year. I watched one of his Instagram reels today as I was scrolling, taking a shit, and I'm like, wow, I'm kind of a fan of Parker Kligerman. No, he's a road course guy. I don't want anything to do with SVG. I don't want anything to do with Dinger. If it was one or the other, okay, maybe I'd take one of them 2-1, 2.5-1.
Sure.
But you don't take either one of them at this point. You watch practice and qualifying, but throw a little Xfinity bet in there. Parker Kligerman, top 5, 2-1. That's what I got on Hard Rock. But don't touch the top. Just wait a second.
Okay.
Pump the brakes.
Okay. I'm still in the midst of forming my card right now. I'm seeing Cole Custer out there at 9-1, and he took me for a ride last week. But you can talk to me about that one.
I think Allgaier's at 9-1. He had a really fast car.
Yeah, he did.
But that's also coming from someone that has a Justin Allgaier betting addiction. So don't listen to me.
Okay. All right. Brian, Monday morning headline reads:
Toyota dominates again, and the Red Dog gets win number 2.
Whoa. Oh, okay. Calling a shot. Phil, I know we don't have any Truck Series odds right now, but do you have one nugget, just like one fun fact, one driver to watch, something that we can hang our hats on as we continue to wait for odds, which just seems like forever, every single week?
It really is a shame that we've got to do this every week, but yeah, here's a quick one. So 5 races, they're going to Gateway. Obviously, and we've had a little bit of an advantage here for the Truck Series because they've been going there, not like the Cup Series. So the last 5 starts at Gateway, there's a driver out there. The name's going to make you want to throw up, but he's 5 for 5 finishing inside the top 5, and it's Stuart Friesen. So we'll see. I can't imagine the books are going to give him any respect because he's not having a good year by general standards. So yeah, let's see if we can get some decent odds on a top 5 for Stewie. And he's got a 100% hit rate. So sometimes you got to take the current season and just be like, hey, the guy knows the track. 5 for 5 is pretty impressive. So Friesen is one to give a look, I'd say.
He's had a little bit more speed here as of late as well. Hasn't always got the finishes he deserves, but even just last week, I thought was pretty impressive at times as well. So I like that name that you threw out there, Phil. Guys, let's go ahead and get into Ride or Fade. This is where our panelists will give you guys one of their favorite matchups for the week, and then we'll go through and say if we're going to ride or fade it. Mark, I want to start with you, man. What do you have for us?
I was just pulling up. I didn't make a note where I found this matchup, but I believe it's Caesars, and it's Chris Buescher -120 versus Ross Chastain. And we talked a lot about Ross last week and how we wanted to fade him. To be honest, I don't know where he finished. I'm still recovering from last week. I don't know if he was good or bad. Can anybody tell me if Ross Chastain was good or bad last week?
He was Okay. He was like mid-teens.
Where he's been?
I think he had a top 10. I think he finished 8th. So
okay,
yeah.
Well, I was thinking he's gonna be 20th place car. Anyway, I want to start by saying that I think most of us would give Buescher the eye test this year, and especially in the last 5 to 7, 8 weeks for sure. But not only has Buescher been exceptional with his speed, but Ross has not been doing very well. His speed has been terrible. Like I said, made these notes, had no recollection of what he did last week, but let's dive into the numbers. So I'm looking at 7 comp track races. We're looking at both gateways, the last 2 Richmond races, Richmond 1 of this year, Richmond 2 of last year, last 2 Phoenix races, same deal as Richmond, and New Hampshire. Chris Buescher has some dog numbers. He's second average finish with a 7.3, which we're going to bet on the guy that has the best average finish, which his finish, his speed has been there as of late, but his finishes have not. So he's also, how do I say this? He's had the speed at these comp tracks and he's also finished, but as of late, he's had the speed. He just doesn't have the finishes. So he's seventh in average running position with an 11.8 on the 7 comps. He's fifth in driver rating. He's fifth in NLD speed. Ross Chastain, on the other hand, is a bunch of double digits. He's 11th in average running position. He's 8th in average finish, 13th in NLD speed. And the only place that he's been worth a damn at any of these 7 contracts is the championship race at Phoenix last year. He won that race. He's the fastest car by a mile. That's literally it. He's been nothing but dog shit everywhere else. I mean, he finished 9th at Gateway last year. I'll give you that one. Let's look at some other finishes. 24th at New Hampshire, 23rd at Richmond 2 last year, 17th at Phoenix 1 this year, and 19th at Richmond 1 of this year. So essentially, we have a guy in Chris Buescher that's ran top 6 to 8 in 7 of the races versus a guy who has run really well in 1 race and dog shit everywhere else. So give me the hot hand. Give me RFK. I don't know how long ago it was, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. They brought the new engine. They have been the Ford team that has run the best, and I expect that to keep going. And I also saw a tweet from Ryan at iFantasy Race saying that Brad Keselowski was the fastest car in stage 3, or maybe it was the last quarter of the race, whatever it was. Brad Keselowski was the fastest car. So I expect the RFK momentum to continue, and I expect the Trackhouse stalemate, stagnantness to continue as well. So give me Buescher at -120 over Chastain.
You're 100% right. I think on the form coming in, it all leans to RFK. All leans to Chris Buescher in this matchup. The only thing I will point out here, Ross has had some really good speed at Gateway, actually coming in number 5 in the NASCAR Next Gen Total Speed rankings at Gateway. So something to keep in mind there. Looking at iFantasy Race, Brian, are you riding or fading with Mark tonight?
Yeah, I'm definitely riding with this for all of his points. And then for me, like, I use a lot of eye test when I'm looking at making bets and stuff. And, you know, regardless of Chris Buescher's finishing results, like especially last week in Charlotte, like he was coming. He was going to be inside the top 5 sooner or later if that race had continued going on. And, you know, part of me is also not weighing as much the past couple of Gateway races because we are on the new tire combination that they just started running this year with the short track package. So, like, you know, I'm more looking at what's been happening this season. And, you know, to Mark's point, Chris Buescher's ceiling is a race winning car where Ross Chastain has just been kind of like, he could run between 5th and 10th possibly right now. You just don't see that race winning type of potential out of him.
Okay. All right. Phil, where are you going here? You riding or fading?
Yeah. So I had my podcast come out earlier and I had 3 head-to-head matchups. This was one of them. I've already taken this bet. I'm pretty sure you can see this at -115 on Bovada too. I'm all in agreement. And the one stat that I'll just throw in is like kind of a cherry on top is this season. He's scored that top 10 at Charlotte, fake top 10, and because of the race. And his last top 10 was Coda. So that's a long time ago. Like, and we've been talking about Ross, like, you know, every other show or so. We're like, yeah, this seems to match up well for Ross. I see SC in the chat. Keep waiting for Ross to be good. He's done waiting. I agree. Like, let's take Buescher and you know, let's wait for Ross to come back around. So I like the call out. I'm in on it as well. Good stuff.
Okay. I'm going to put a poll right now in the chat, Ross or Buescher, because I don't want to like say I would take Ross on this bet, but I am fading. Like, it's just a no bet for me. I think, Mark, personally, just because we have seen Ross have speed here, but you guys are 100% right. Like, Ross has been kind of a ghost these last 2 months in the Cup Series. Aside from his one win in the trucks there a couple weeks ago, nothing from Ross. Brian, where are you taking us? Where is an advantage you found in the head-to-head market right now?
Well, the first matchup that I bet, I got it on Bovada. It was available at Bet365 for the same number. It's Josh Berry over Chase Briscoe, which I got it at even money. It's now bet down to minus 135 at Bet365 and minus 115 at Bovada. A very similar conversation between Barry and Briscoe, in my opinion, where Barry has shown the ability to run up front. When you go back to that Richmond race during practice, he was widely considered possibly a top 3, top 5 car and somebody that could compete up front, which he did until a late pit road issue cost him a top finish. Barry has bested his teammate in the last 4 races coming into this weekend. And just when you look at everything that's going on with the SHR camp right now, I want the team that's been running the best heading into this weekend with all of this news that's going to throw a wrench into all their plans. And for me, that's Josh Berry, and it's not even close, especially seeing the type of pit stops that his team was throwing together last week. I think they led the Cup Series in average pit stop time during the Charlotte race. So I'm all over this. I would probably bet it if it was like minus 120 still. Minus 135 is a little bit hefty before practice and qualifying. But yeah, I obliterated this on Bovada when it first opened.
I like that. I like that one a lot. Mark, where are you going here? You're riding or fading the Josh Berry train?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of data on Josh Berry on comps. He has not raced at Gateway. So, some of the way I like to base my bets, I don't have a leg to stand on. However, the stats that I look at on Briscoe, he's anywhere from like a 17th to 22nd place car. So if you think Josh Berry is going to come out and be better than that, then I think you take the bet. I'm with Brian, though. I think you take it at minus 110, minus 120, minus 130, minus 135. That's a hefty number to lay on a guy pre-practice qualifying on, a guy that has never been to Gateway before. So I'm going to ride just because, I am going to ride. I'm not gonna bet on it just because I hate betting teammates, and we could stop there. But also just a little bit of Josh Berry unknowingness. I hope that's a word. But I do like Josh Berry over Briscoe. I think Berry and Gragson have been the class of SHR this year, and Briscoe's had a few decent finishes. But I like what I see at Josh Berry. I'll ride with him.
Phil, you get invested here with SHR with Brian. Are you riding or fading?
Yeah, I think I could ride with Briscoe in this one. Just looking at some quick numbers here. The 4, he's been to 4 comps in the last 8 short flat tracks that we're talking about here, and in those 4 races, he's got a much better average finish. I think he's 3-1 head to head. Just doing some quick math
Briscoe or Barry? Briscoe or Barry?
Going with excuse me, Barry.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Sorry. I said the wrong name. Too many B's. And yeah, so he's got him beat there. And the other thing is Briscoe has a pole here, and he has been qualifying pretty well. So my thought maybe is, assuming the books are going to bring us the same matchup, there could be a chance that he qualifies better than Josh Berry, and we get him at a little different number. So because starting positions have not really worked out that well for Chase Briscoe from the comps here that I'm looking at. So I think Berry would be the way to go in this one.
Okay. I think we just have one more matchup to get to. Phil, what do you have for us from a head-to-head perspective?
All right. So I'm glad that I have you guys to bounce this off of, because I'm interested in hearing it, because I'm going against the guy with the best average finish at this racetrack. Kyle Busch is the guy, first place finish, second place finish, right? So that gets your attention. But I'm going against him here with Chase Elliott plus 100 at Bovada. He's minus 110 at DraftKings. So he's the underdog in any of these matchups. And I understand it. Chase has been here one time. He has a 21st place finish. I get it. At Gateway, Busch definitely has had the numbers, but to me, it's what have you done for me lately? And for Kyle Busch, it hasn't been a lot. Since that victory on short flat tracks, we've had 5 races. All right. Chase is 4-1 head to head against Kyle Busch in those races. And Kyle has had 4 finishes outside the top 20 in that time span. His green flag speed, 26th this year on the 2 comp tracks that we've been to. Meanwhile, Chase's green flag speed is 7th in those 2 flat tracks. And the other thing is, with the intermediate package, we have to bring that into play, right? We've had 7 tracks this year with this intermediate package. And I saw an interview with Kyle Busch a week ago looking ahead to Gateway. And he was like, well, we're excited for Gateway because we've been better with the intermediate package. So I was like, okay, jot that down. He's been great at Gateway. That should be good. Looking at it, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. He's not that great. And you're going up in this matchup against the guy who has the best average finish in 2024 in this package, Chase Elliott. And somehow Chase is the underdog. I don't get it. The two comps that we've been to with Richmond and Phoenix, Chase has qualified second and third. He got screwed out of a bad finish in Phoenix, finished 19th, finished 5th at Richmond. So he's been fast at these comp tracks. He's qualified well, has ran well. Meanwhile, Busch has qualified like dog shit and ran like dog shit. So the math's not mathing for me with these odds, and I'm going with Elliott plus 100.
Okay. All right. How are we feeling about it? Because I do not have the balls to fade Kyle Busch this week, boys.
I do. The math is not math. And Phil pointed out one very specific stat that I love, and that's that Chase Elliott has had the best average finish in the intermediate package. And as of late, at Gustafson, Elliott, the whole 9 team, they've started to come around. All right. Watch out for the 9 team. I'm going to say it right now. I know we're not that far into the season. Watch out for the 9 team. Okay. They're going to be good. They've shown some really good speed as of late. Phil Ninged it, said it. He got boned at Phoenix for the finish. His average running position was 9th. It was also 9th at Richmond, or 9.9 and 9.1 at the 2 comps. Kyle Busch, 23.9 and 19.9. So this is a 10-spot difference. This is current form. This is momentum. This is eye test. This is all Chase Elliott. Seth, I understand. He's got the best average finish at Gateway. It's tough to overlook, but if you're going to look at the package this year, if you're going to look at current form, it's all pointing to Chase Elliott.
Okay. All right. Brian, I imagine you're also riding with Chase Elliott this week.
Yeah, this is definitely not a good sign, because this was after my Josh Berry, this was my second matchup bet that I made. And for everything that they just said, and something else that really comes to mind when you're looking at these pre-practice and qualifying odds is how these guys are unloading. And the two couldn't be any more different. Kyle Busch came into Phoenix and he looked like a freaking dump truck, where Chase Elliott was throwing down some of the best, 5-lap averages during practice, and he qualified really well. And then he ran really well the entire race. Same thing in Richmond, like Elliott bested Busch in practice and qualifying. So these numbers are going to flip once we get to race day on Sunday. And then you just look at the way they've been running in 2024. And I don't think the matchup is that close, especially knowing like you can take the previous 2 races at Gateway with a little bit of a grain of salt, because we are in a slightly different complete setup coming to this race.
Okay. All right. I like that is something to keep in mind. I think having the setup in mind is something very important. Brian, I appreciate that. Let's go to position props here. Mark, get us started, man. Austin Cindric, top 10. Why do you love him?
Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I did see someone, I think it was in our Discord, someone said they opened Cindric at 100 to 1 or 300 to 1 or something. Just absolutely
he has 2 top
absurd.
10s here. 2 top 10s.
Yeah, I don't give a flying you know what about that. I am off. I'm off Austin Cindric. Let's talk about a real contender. Okay, that's Martin Truex Jr. Okay, Carson Osfar tweeted it. There's a rain forecast. So we're just going to start the week early. We're going to start the manifestation early. We're going Marty Monday. I'm just kidding. No more rain delays. All right, Mother Nature. I'm going to come shove one up your ass if you keep fucking us. All right. No, it's Martin Truex Jr. We don't even need Monday. Okay. It's top 5. It's plus 160 on Bet365. I took it there. I also took it on Hard Rock at plus 130. I would play it down to that. I probably wouldn't play it at even money, but plus 120, plus 130, up to plus 160 and beyond. Give me a little Marty Truex Jr. top 5 action. I'm all over him. I got him. Well, we're going to talk about him later too. This is not quite a generational bet. It's just, I already broke the rules and I had 2 in one weekend. I said it earlier, I can't reach back into the bucket for more, but I do love this just as much as I loved Hamlin last week. And in my opinion, the numbers are actually better. So the info that I look at week in, week out, a mix of, NASCAR's loop data, some non-loop data, some adjusted average running position, some NLD speed, stuff like that. I add them all together. It spits out winners. Okay. Models, spit, rankings, never mind. So another thing is I love when some of the stats I look at, average finish, average running position, we all look at that, but it really talks to me when their number is at, under, or very close to a finishing prop bet, and you get a good number on it, you get plus money on it, then I'm very intrigued. So the 7 comps, Truex's average finish 5.14, best in the Cup Series. I told you Buescher was number 2, Truex is number 1, 5.14. That's absurd. That at 5.14, his worst finish is 7th.
Yeah,
that's just an abomination of a number. Average running position is 7.7, which is damn near close to qualify for this bet. It's also good for best in the Cup Series. Driver rating, best in the Cup Series, 7 comps. NLD speed second, just behind Blaney, because Blaney's had some good short flats the last couple of years. And NLD speed just at the 2 gateway races is 4th. So all of the metrics, he's also second in the power ranking. So all the metrics are either at, right around, or at that position prop number. And as if you use the eye test that we've been talking about a lot tonight, which maybe it's because we don't have a ton of information on Gateway. Maybe that's why we're using a little bit more, current form. But this guy, Marty, is lights out at places like Richmond, Phoenix, New Hampshire. Think about how many times he's gone out and dominated races at those racetracks. I'm taking those tracks into consideration because we don't have a ton of data to go off Gateway. So if you want to bring in Gateway, certainly he finished 6th and 5th the last 2 years, which is still unbelievable. And you couple that with him being he's the fastest driver without a win this year. He's going to break through soon. So give me the guy that's fastest on all the comps. He's got the finish. He's got the running position. He's got it all. He's plus 160 at Bet365 for a top 5. Plus 160. I'll let you think about that. Let the cooks in the kitchen get whipping up over there and go bet Martin Truex. Like I said at the beginning, bet him at Hard Rock plus 130. I'd play the 125 at Caesars plus 120. Whatever this number gets to at some point in the week, just play it. Okay. Not a generational bet, but Marty Truex, top 5 is a bet.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what it was, but I think I was overlooking Truex a little bit coming into this week before you went on your little rant there, Mark. And honest to God, there might be some value in today's market at plus 160. Plus 160 feels nowadays what almost like plus 250 did a year ago or so in the top 5 market. So yeah, I think I can jive with that a little bit. Phil, any Martin Truex Jr. love for you, or are you taking it to a different driver in the prop market?
I've got a lot of love for Martin Truex Jr. this week. I think it's his week, honestly.
Okay.
I have him in a head-to-head, against somebody. So yeah, I'm in on Martin Truex Jr. I love the bet. I'll be tailing that as well. I didn't realize that it was such a good number. I'll take us in a different direction if we want to have fun. All right. If we want to have a little sprinkle. We want to bet some stuff that's going to make you pay attention to the pylon. This is a driver. All right. I'm actually going to play a little game here.
I'm glad he's a driver, Phil.
This is a driver who, I should have said that, who has a decent resume. So, with college football player, when they set the resume, I'm going to set the resume here. All right. And then I'll tell you the odds, and then we'll reveal the driver's name. Okay. So I'm hoping for a little closing line value on this particular driver. On the 2024 intermediate package, he hasn't been all that great, okay, from a full boat standpoint. But in the most recent races, he's got a 10th place, and a 16th place finish. So the team has started to kind of figure it out a little bit. And they've also started really well in this package. 10.4 average starting position is really good. He's got 1 top 10 at this race, a 9th place finish, and then an 18th place finish in the other race. So not totally out of it, but he's flirting with this top 10 number here. And since 2023 started, we've 8 short flat tracks. This guy has a 50% hit rate for finishing in the top 10, 4 top 10s, 6 top 15s. His average finish is 13.3. And this season, he has an 8th place finish at Phoenix. So this isn't outside the realm of possibility for a 5-1 number on Michael
McNasty. Yeah, I knew it.
I knew it.
Driver.
I mean, look, dude, I've been I have him. I played
8 to 1 on FanDuel. 8
to 1
on FanDuel.
Get real.
Yep.
Like, that's wild.
Yep. That's the
so
bet of the week.
If he goes out and qualifies top 15, that number is disappearing. And look, I'll go on a little bit more of a rant. I play the Atop the Pit Box fantasy game. It's a full season game. I put together 5 drivers in my roster, and you're allowed to change a guy out. Well, earlier in the year, I had McDowell in that lineup. And early in the year, he was going to be a guy that I took out, but there's been something to him a little bit. Like, he's starting to come back. The team's starting to come back. And I look, I get that he could go out and he run 24th, but these numbers speak to a driver that you kind of have to take it a 5 to 1 number or an 8 to 1 number for a top 10. It's possible. So that's why we're having a little fun and, a little sprinkle there.
No, I love the call, Phil. He was someone I had circled on my list this week. Going back to that 2022 race, that first race, I know it was the first one at Gateway, first in the next gen era as well. But he was leading laps in that race. Like he didn't finish well in that 2022 race, but led 34 laps that day, looked good, and was a major player in the next year as well. So I think Michael McNasty, like this is a time to get on board. I think the 8 to 1 number at FanDuel is a great value, or even down to 5 to 1, like you called out as well. So I'm there with you on McNasty. Brian, where did you find some value in position props this week?
Well, just to prove to everybody that I did not copy, and to back up what I said a long time ago, I write all my notes down. Martin Truex Jr. top 5. Truex was the first guy when odds first dropped that I looked at his outright number, to be honest with you. But knowing the way that he kind of sometimes lollygags in qualifying, that 9 to 1 price, I think will get close to that post qualifying, so I couldn't get there. But the top 5 number for everything that Mark said is exactly right. Like, this dude has been the most consistent in terms of running up front at every single track. And as long as they don't decide to pit and, take 4 tires and everybody else takes 2, he's probably looking at 1 to 2 wins this year, or if his teammates don't decide to, shove him up the track. So, when you look at the comp tracks, Truex led over 200 laps at Richmond. He was probably the best car there. Phoenix Toyota was by far the best manufacturer. He was one of the 4 cars, I believe, that led over 50 laps that day. So, Truex is going to be on the card. I don't mind laddering him going to the top 3 market at I think he's like plus 240, I think, at a couple spots. And then, post practice and qualifying, I don't mind getting on Truex if he looks great in practice. But that was the first one. And then the other one, because we're having a little fun here, I'm going to go back to Josh Berry. He's plus 250 at Bet Rivers, I believe, for top 10. And he's somebody who I don't necessarily have great confidence that they can put together an entire race to finish inside the top 10. But just looking at what they've been doing, no finish worse than 16th in the last 5 races. He has a couple of those running around 12th or 14th. They've just had solid days. And when I'm looking at somebody, potential pre-practice and qualifying top 10 number, I want somebody who's going to be safe and also has the potential to do this. So I like the Josh Berry number at plus 240, I believe it is.
Okay, cool. I appreciate those. We got Big Ross saying that's a crazy number on the McNasty. We got Kush giving a little love to McNasty as well.
Kush.
Yeah.
What's up, Kush?
We got Rory in the chat. What's up, fellas? What's up, Rory? That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Good to have Rory in the chat tonight, man. Yeah.
Just for reference, real quick, McDowell's top 10 price on Bovada is plus 225.
Wow. Yeah. So if you can fucking get an 8 to 1, you
8 to 1 is
FanDuel.
Ridiculous. FanDuel, I can't remember them having top 10s out this early. So I guess this is why.
Phil, FanDuel, I've been shouting it from the heavens on the back row last couple weeks. FanDuel's back. FanDuel is like
really?
Last week I got minus 125 on Ty Gibbs top 10. It was the only bet I fucking hit of the weekend. It was great. Yeah. Right. So
let's have you a good time.
Yeah. FanDuel, ESPN bet. They're back, baby. Get on it. All right. I think we're good on position props. I think we're good on position props. Let's go to outrights here. Phil, I know you have to step away from us very soon. So give us an outright that you like this week, my man.
All right. So for what it's worth, I'm playing Toyota this week in the manufacturer bet. They're plus 140 on Caesars, Bovada. Truex is definitely one of the names, and Mark has talked about him. Brian talked about him. So I'm gonna try to do what I do on the podcast and go like defense for that manufacturer bet, where I throw a couple units on that. Who could beat me? I'll take the obvious. I'll get the obvious out of the way, and then before I leave, I'll listen to a couple of these guys. I want to come back for something real quick, but 6-1 on Kyle Larson. And Roy's coming in at just the right time. But what kind of a story would it be, for him to just like compartmentalize all that frustration and come back and just dominate this week? It would not be shocking whatsoever. And I can't remember the last time we had a 6-1 number on Kyle Larson this early in the week. It seems like he's always down at like 450. So this feels pretty solid to, give him a chance at redemption here. If he does it, I want to be on the winning team, and he's the guy that can do it. So he finished 4th last year at Gateway on the short flat tracks since 2023, 8 races. He's first in average finish, 6.4, 1 win, 6 top 5s. The top 5 number is actually not too shabby either. I think it's like plus 120 on Bet Rivers. So, 3rd in driver rating that time span. This season on the 2 comps, Phoenix and Richmond, 4th in green flag speed. Ryan Stevens, if he was here, he'd tell you he's got him ranked 1st. So there's just a lot to like about it. And, this season in the intermediate package, he's got 2 wins, 4 top 5s in 6 races. So 33% hit rate for a win at 6-1. I don't mind it. So Larson is where I'll play some defense against the Toyota manufacturer bet.
Okay, love it. Brian, what do you have from an outright?
I'm going with the Toyotas. I'm going to go with Tyler Reddick. He's 13-1 at BetMGM. The reason why I like this number, again, going back to what I mentioned about the matchup between Briscoe and Barry, like Reddick has looked incredible when they've unloaded at both Phoenix and Richmond. And so this number will not be there after practice and qualifying. He was a top 5 car in practice at both Phoenix and Richmond. He's been a top 5 car at pretty much every single 1.5 on Saturday. And so, Reddick is a guy who's going to run up front. He probably would have found his way to the front at Charlotte had that race continued to go on, because he was up there fairly quickly, probably faster than I thought. And, I want to get in some Toyota love with big numbers here on somebody that's going to get shorter. And to go back to Phil's point on Kyle Larson, he's 7-1 at a couple of places, and you have to account for the stress that has been relieved from him now that the Indy 500 situation is over with. Like, I think there's something to be said about all that weight off of his shoulders. And so if you can get Larson right now, I love that.
Okay. All right. Like to hear it. SC saying, I guess I'm going to Iowa because Bovada is crop. Oh, dude. But that's the only place you can bet ARCA, man.
Facts.
Come on.
Facts.
Show a little respect to Bovada out there, SC. Mark, where are you going from an outright, my man?
I'm not changing anything up. I didn't even prep an outright. It's Truex 9-1.
Okay.
I'm not gonna come out here and tell you. Yeah, I mean, I just say it's 9-1. Okay, it was on Hard Rock. It's 850 now. Just take it. I mean, I'm going back to the well. Take it for your mama's pension for all I care. I don't care. I'm not going to say anything that's groundbreaking at this point about Truex. However,
yeah,
I do think it's wild that you got guys like Larson, Hamlin, they're 550, 6-1, whatever it is. The books decided to put 12 fucking guys less than 15-1. That's not an exaggeration either. Go look at it. There's 12 fucking guys under 15-1, and the top 2 are at 6-1. So they're giving us a break at the top, but then like the next 10 guys they're fucking us with. So, I'm taking my Truex 9-1, and I take it at 850, which is very widely available. But yeah, I'm on Marty all week.
And honestly, I was just about to say this, so I'm glad SC brought it up in the chat. No Logano love. Logano has the best average finish here. I believe among second best 2.0 average finish. Like, what's not to love about Logano?
You cannot bet Logano until you see them unload at this point,
dude. But they've been so good,
dude.
They've been so good that like at unloading at this track that I feel like if they do unload well, like you can kiss any good numbers you're getting on him goodbye. Like I would like a 16-1. I thought that would be like what I would be hunting. It was more like a 14 is what I've been seeing most places. So I don't know. Like he just I know it's a different track, it's a different setup, but he just dominated North Wilkesboro. Like that wasn't that, it's a shorter flat track. It's a different package, but shorter flat still.
I see your point, but RFK is a superior Ford team at this point. Just putting that out there. It's tough. It's just like Kyle Busch. It's so tough to look at what they've done the last 2 years, but if you look at current form, it's dog shit. Now you just busted me up saying North Wilkesboro, fine, throw it in there, short flat track position matters, everything fine, whatever. I want nothing to do Joseph Slogano. No
wow. Wow, the disrespect on this.
I'll just propose this too. Like, why would you want to bet Logano when you've seen his recent form, when you can get Chris Buescher at like $4 to $6 better of a price, who's been astronomically better than the 22 car?
22's been great at this track. What do you have, Phil? Any Logano love from you?
So I'm going to step away after this, but this is actually the bet that I wanted to bring up to you guys.
And stir the pot.
And this is going to pull. No, I think this is going to pull us all together. Okay. This is going to pull us together.
We're divided. We're a house divided right now.
Let's talk about it. All right. Because Caesars has a bet that I'm super intrigued about, and it's over 3.5 cars in the top 10 for Ford. And the number is plus 150. Now, for comparison, Toyota has the same number, 3.5, and they're minus 160 with 7 less vehicles in the race. So just want to get into this here. Let's talk about Logano, right? Yeah. He could be dog shit this week, but if he's well, like he was, at Gateway both times, 2 top 5 finishes, then great. There's a dog in the fight. Ryan Blaney, 2 top 10s at this track, dog in this fight. I mentioned McDowell. He's 10th in average finish in, the short flat track since 2023 started. Dog in the fight. We've got Buescher, who I love for a top 10, by the way. Brad Keselowski. Josh Berry is 8th in average finish since the start of 2023 season with the 4 comps that he's been a part of.
Cindric's kind of lit here too. Let's be honest.
So let's talk about Cindric for a second. He sucks. But if we're talking about this bet at this racetrack, right? This is a situation where
2 for 2.
We're talking about he's 2 for 2 starting in the top 10. He finished 11th and 13th, but he's right there. And Ford had 4 cars in 2022 and 3 cars last year, but Cindric was right there. So this is a bet at plus 150. I mean, I know the next stat or the next topic here is best value. I think this is a solid value. And we're not even talking about the rest of the Stewart-Haas camp, who, what the hell are they going to bring to the table? Where's my Noah Gragson top 10 at? He's been, usually someone you can count on. So plus 150, I don't hate that. And it's a way to kind of say hey, we're not sure about Logano, but he'll help us if he hits. I'm not fading him. He's part of it. I can kind of root for him. And then you get the rest of those guys in there. So to put the, bow on top of it, the average finish top 10 category for short flats, the last 8 since 2023 started, 6 of them are Fords. So, they haven't been winning races, but they've been finishing in the top 10. So with that, I'll leave you. I'll drop that grenade. You guys can can shit on it or be part of it. But I appreciate you guys. Brian, I appreciate you jumping on, man. This was a great conversation. We love talking with you as always. And Seth, thanks for hosting. Mark, I'll obviously talk to you throughout the week, but appreciate you guys. And we'll go get it this weekend, boys.
Yeah. Phil, tell us where we can find you and all the work you're doing this week and what's good with the Full Tank with Phil podcast.
At Full Tank Phil on Instagram, Twitter. Give me a look. We put the pics out on Instagram every week. And the podcast is out now. Talking Gateway this week and looking to potentially put a little truck series pod together, hopefully, for Gateway as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Cool. We appreciate it, Phil. Have a good rest of your night. Good luck out there on the ice, bud. Don't get banged up.
Yeah, appreciate it, fellas. I'll see
you. All right. Thanks, Phil. All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and move into best values of the night. Mark, do you have anything that you haven't thrown out to us already that you're jiving with from a best value perspective? I don't know it's going to be an 8-1 McNasty value, but still maybe another good value.
Yeah, no, not quite that. But I did go bet it at 6-1 on Hard Rock when Phil was talking about it. So There are some good numbers on him out there still floating around. I have two quick ones, and the first one is Bubba Wallace top 10 at plus 190. Brian was talking about his teammate Red Dog Reddick at for a top 5 or maybe outright, whatever it was. But both of these cars have been good, above average, pretty good. Top 10 cars. I'd give him top 10 cars, back half of the top 10, but top 10 cars at Gateway. Bubba's wrecked both races. He blew a brake rotor last year, and 2 years ago, I think Elliott spun him. But he's 7th in average running position at the 2 tracks. So the adjusted average running position. Sorry. Before he wrecks, you take the wrecks out, where he's been running before he was wrecked, he's 7th. So in my book, plus 180, plus 190 on Bet365, 180 on Hard Rock. I think those are great bets. His other finishes on the comps have been 8th, 10th, 12th, 13th, and 16th. So he's hunting the top 10. It's not like he's dog shit, but it's just like betting on Bubba Wallace every week. He's either going to wreck or he's going to be fast. When he's going to be fast, and then he's going to wreck. So it's up to you if you want to take this bet. But I'm putting my guarantee on Bubba Wallace to be a top 10 car. It's just up to him if he decides to wreck. Or Chase Elliott wrecked him in 22. So, and I guess last year it was a brake rotor. Not his fault, but still also his fault because he can't figure out how to finish. So the other one is a little top 5 parlay, Cup Xfinity, Truex top 5, Parker Kligerman top 5. It gives you a nice plus 590 on the way out the door. So we'll see you on the way to the bank. That was fun.
Big Parker Kligerman guy this week.
Well, I told you why at the beginning. I don't want the top. And you give me 2-1 on a road course guy.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, no live pit stops, I think. Right? Hope so.
I don't know. You would probably know better than
I don't think there's live pit stops. So
okay. Yeah, I'll take your word for it, man. All right, Brian, any best values for you, man, that we haven't touched on so far tonight?
Yeah, I mean, Mark alluded to my outright pick of Tyler Reddick, so I'm going to go to the top 5 market with him at plus 185 over at Bet Rivers for everything that I said about his outright price. And then also just when you look at what he was doing at Phoenix, where he was leading the race, he tied Denny Hamlin with most laps led. His average running position was well inside the top 5 for the majority of that day. And then at Richmond, same thing. He was running really well. And then, as Mark said last year here at Gateway, both 2311 cars actually suffered exploding brake rotors. It actually happened to Tyler Reddick while he was running 6th, so he was running just outside the top 5. And this is a car that week in and week out we've kind of come to expect on 1.5, so in the intermediate package, to be amongst one of the potential race winners. And so, I'm going to grab the value now, expecting him to practice really well and then qualify near the front and then see this number get closer to even or about plus 125 come Sunday.
Muted.
It's crazy we've made it to the time in our lives where you can no longer even bet Tyler Reddick top 10. You know what I mean?
It's over.
It was a nice run. It was a nice run for sure. All right, let's round things out with our DK features for the night. And this is basically, I'm going to throw out a couple matchups. You guys are going to tell me which side you're on quickly. Brian, you're going to fill in for Ryan. So your stats are going to count for him. My stats are going to count for Derek. And we'll have Phil fill this in afterwards. And Mark, yours will count for yourself. I'm not sure what the season standings are in this. Have you got an update from Derek at all?
Buddy, I'm in dead last. I know that.
Okay. All right. Well, Mark, you have some ground to make up. Where are we leaning with this first one? Tyler Reddick, as just alluded to by Brian, minus 115 versus Ty Gibbs.
Anybody but him. Well, we haven't made it to this part of the show in probably a month, so I wasn't prepped for it. But usually when that happens, I just go to Zach's power rankings and I take whoever's higher. So Red Dog's 11th, Ty Gibbs 17th. So I do like Reddick. I like 2311, and I like the numbers on Bubba more, but tough to fade Ty Gibbs. So not laying money on it. However, for purposes, I am on Tyler Reddick.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I like the cut of Ty Gibbs' jib right now. I like what he's kind of been throwing out there the last couple weeks. But I'll have to go with Tyler Reddick on this one. Brian, I know your answer as well.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Brian, right back to you, Brian. Chris Buescher, Ross Chastain. Did you even throw this one out there?
Buescher, and it's not even Yeah, not even close.
I don't think we need to talk about this one. It's all Busher, brother.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll even take Busher if I'm gun to the head.
No, actually, can you take the opposite so that I can make up some ground, please? Please.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, Derek wasn't here tonight.
Peer pressure.
Brad K versus Logano. I think someone brought up Kyle Busch versus Logano earlier. That would have been a good one. Brad K -120 versus Logano -110. I'm going Logano. I talked about him earlier. I like him a lot. It's hard to I wouldn't bet this because I'm not fading Brad Keselowski. But if I'm just saying, gun to the head, I have to pick one, it'd be Logano for me.
I'm off Logano. Zach has him third in the power rankings, and he has Brad 18th.
Wow.
So don't love that. And I just figured out that Logano was third. I just completely skipped over him because I want nothing to do with him this week. But since you're on Logano, I have to make up ground. I got to go opposite. I don't even know who you're voting for. I think this is Derek. Give me Brad Keselowski.
Okay, Brad Keselowski for you. Brian, break the tie here. You going Logano or Kez?
Yeah, I have. Admittedly, I will say I shopped Logano's numbers when they first dropped, and really hoped.
Thank you. Thanks.
That I had 20-1 on Bovada, but I never. They never posted that. It was they opened at 14, so there was no way. The eye test tells me take the guy that's just been safer and more consistent, and that's Brad Keselowski right now. I don't care that Logano has been amazing here. I don't care what he's done in the past. 2024 is completely different than 2023. Mark said it. RFK is the class of the Ford camp right now, so I'm going to go with Brad Keselowski.
Hell yeah. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys' insight tonight. If there's any questions in the chat that we haven't got to, now would be the time to go ahead and bring those up as we close out here. Brian, what else do you have going on this week, man? Where else can we find you? How can we best support you, man?
Yeah, so you can catch us at the Angle of Pursuit podcast at FPAOP on Twitter. My buddy Kyle and I, we do 2 shows a week. We talk about betting odds. Saturday, we record for DraftKings. We do our best at novice DraftKings plays and give our last outrights. And then also my write content for BetSports Media Group, as Seth alluded to earlier in the show. And that stuff can actually be found on bleachernation.com, which is our content site.
Sweet. Hell yeah. Also, that head-to-head we posted earlier, Busher 67%, Ross 33%. So looks like the public's backing you guys as well. Brian, thanks for you coming on tonight, man, and making time for us tonight. Mark, how can we best find you? How can we best support you? Everything from your cruise antics to laying coin, bro.
I'm still not recovered. I don't know how I have brain cells or a voice. I didn't have a voice until yesterday afternoon. So I was getting worried I was going to have to make the call to Derek, but we're feeling good. We're recording Laying Coin in about, 15 minutes. I will not be wearing a shirt because we are not monetized. So there ain't no strikes around here. We're going to show off the little boat tan and the big ass traps. That's it. Laying Coin at Skybox NASCAR on Twitter. Seth, Brian, thank you guys. You guys did well. Let's win some money this week.
Let's do it, baby. Let's not get fucked over by rain or Austin Hill being an asshole.
Fuck Mother Nature.
Kush asking on our way out here, Bell or Bush? Oh, geez.
Bell, short flat.
Yeah. Give me Bell. Bell dominated the field in Phoenix this year.
Seth is Seth.
I'm on all the old men.
Hold on. I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. I'm not saying this is terrible. But you're looking at track history more than me and Brian are, and that's just fine.
For sure.
I can't disagree with it. That's fine.
For sure. Yeah.
Figure out.
Gateway is one of those weird, unique tracks that I think there is a little bit of skill involved here. Also, though, I'm just always fuck Christopher Bell. Faded him last week. I had Chris Buescher against him. I would have hit that. Chris Buescher would have beat him in the end. Let's just be honest here. Just a bad week for the kid. We're coming back strong, baby. Guess what? Joseph Newgarden, top 3. Told you that one, though. Let's go.
Hey,
Let's
winner.
go. Yeah. All right, guys. Easiest way to support me and In Between Media as a whole, subscribe to the channel. Let us know right now in the chat that you're subbed. We're going to do a Frank Gore jersey giveaway, autograph 49ers giveaway jersey on Tuesday night on the IBT podcast on the channel. Wow. So just type in subbed right now. I'll add you to the list. Yeah, I don't know. Do people still like Frank Gore? How we feel about Frank Gore? He got his ass knocked out a couple years ago, right, Brian?
Frank Gore was awesome.
Didn't he get like boxing though? He not a
yeah,
boxer.
yeah. He got crushed in like the second or third round of his like boxing debut. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay.
He's washed.
I'll
take the jersey though.
Yeah. We'll add Mark to the list.
Better be a double X, brother.
Mark, if you win the jersey, you have to wear it to Daytona next year. No pants, just the jersey.
Speedo. All right, I'll wear Speedo.
Right. Okay. Let's go. All right. Fair enough. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in this week to the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. Easiest way to support Derek and the show, follow them at NBPS on Twitter. You can also follow Derek at Derek_Yoder. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you guys next week. Until then, you know what to do. Keep it in between. Thank you.